Good evening, everyone. We are back for another live edition of Legend from the Past and Future Show, and got my girl Deneen. We're going solo tonight. Deneen, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. It's warming up. I'm all excited.
Hey, yeah, so you're not in Atlanta. You in the great state of, I'm not gonna say DC. I'm gonna say Maryland. All right.
Okay. I mean, I'm a Annapolis girl, so I love it. I love the DMV.
Come on now, come on. Now you know there's been some big happenings going on in our great city of Annapolis. Did you hear about what the mayor did to the chief of Annapolis Police Department? Did
Yeah,
you
I
hear
was
about?
I was surprised. I was really surprised that they literally they fired him. Like what was that about?
Nobody knows. The difference in leadership strategies or whatever the case may be, so to speak. But
Hmm.
we're gonna find out what's going on.
Yeah, we need to keep. Yeah, get us. We need to do some research on that.
Absolutely. Now, to segue into the big happening today, Denise, the Wizards made a big trade, and guess who they brought in?
Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis. How do you feel about that now? We got Trey and now Anthony. What do you think the future looks like?
Well, Trey Young and Anthony Davis, that could be a nice duo, right? If we can keep Anthony on the court, right? And Trey, and I mean, his shooting and he's so quick. I mean, I like it. I like it. I feel like if they do what we know that they can do, I feel like it's a upside for the Wizards.
Absolutely. Now, what's your prediction on the Super Bowl this coming Sunday?
Okay, so based on the stats, the Seahawks should win this game. They had the best. They had a good defense. They should win this game. But we cannot discount those lucky New England Patriots. So I'm going for the Seahawks. I feel like that they have everything they need to win, but you can't. I mean, everybody said it was the Brady factor. Everybody said it was the Belichick factor. But look at them. They here. Belichick's system is still in place, so I don't know. If the game is close, I believe that New England will win. But if the Seahawks come out and play like they're supposed to play, it should be their game.
Well,
So,
guess what? Guess what? Seahawks got it.
okay, that's right. Put your money on the Seahawks.
But we have a fascinating and exciting guest tonight. Are you ready to bring her to the stage?
Yeah, I'm excited about her. I mean, everything about her just makes me excited for women in business.
Yes, yes. Well, this is Black History Month, and we are celebrating our Black women who have been successful. And here she is coming to the stage, Miss Sandy Arnette. Sandy,
Hey, thanks for
welcome.
having me.
It's a pleasure and an honor. I'm glad you decided to come on.
Well,
So,
I thank you. I know we talked about this for a little while, so I'm glad we made it happen.
yes, we did.
This is
So,
great.
what we do first on the Legend Show, we travel back in future, then we come forward. Okay, so let's go back to where were you born and raised?
Born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, in Bedstuy, New York.
And
Mhm.
growing up, some of the things that interest you while growing up.
Hmm. Gosh, it's quite a bit that interests me, but I don't know. I grew up as an only child, so family was always important. I got to spend a lot of time with because we had lots of family in New York, so cousins that lived right across the street, aunts, things like that. So we were all kind of in the same neighborhood. So I would say family and friends was really important. Church was important. My mom would often volunteer me to preside over programs and things like that, even though, you try to stay in the background and she's making sure you're right up there in front on the mic at the podium. So it was that kind of thing, but it was all good. It was just a good sense, even being in the city, it was just like a good sense of community. And all the neighbors knew each other. We could go trick-or-treating from house to house. We could, I was a Girl Scout. I used to sell Girl Scout cookies, but it was safe, to do all those things. And so my experience growing up in Brooklyn was great. I loved it.
Now, did you go to college?
I did. I actually came down to the DMV to go to college, to go to Howard. I attended a Howard University. So what?
Go ahead.
The real HU. So yes, I came down for that. Went back to New York for a little while to do grad school, and then decided I really wanted to be back in the DMV. So came on back with a job, and I've been here ever since.
So now I was told
that's like the late 80s.
I was told that Hampton is the real HU.
The real HU is Howard. Howard University. We always have that debate.
So now, before I pass it over to Deneen, tell me about people who influenced you or motivated you while growing up, helped shape and mold you to become the person you are today.
Well, I have to say, and I know you probably hear people say this all the time. A lot of it was my mom. My mom was the oldest of 11. Her mom died when many of them were young. So she ended up raising some of them. So they were my aunts and uncles, but it was almost like brothers and sisters. Some of us were growing up in the same household. But, she worked and she held things down. My dad was there too. But, it was just like you had to take care of business. She ran the household. She worked, she shopped, she made sure that we had everything that we needed. So, she was a strong woman to me. And some of my aunts, was the same thing, very strong women. And they influenced me. So I would have to say that was, really what made me kind of who I am, I guess.
Well, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. Before I pass it to Deneen, Vanessa Turner, welcome to the show. That's right, Vanessa, Seahawks all the way. And our residential comedian, E Boogie, the Healing Human. Welcome to the show, E Boogie. And I don't want to mess this up, but I'm going to shortchange and say Malone 4558. Welcome to the show, and on you, Deneen.
Oh, okay, Sandra. Welcome to the show. So nice to talk to you. We chatted earlier, so I'm excited about getting into it. I'm just going to jump right into it. So, Sandra, you said in your resume, in your bio, it says that you had managed Fortune 500 companies. Can you tell us a little bit about what that was about?
Oh, sure. So the bulk of my career was with Verizon. I was there about 20 years, managing media relations. So basically working with the company, trying to gain visibility. So the good things that the company was doing, the good things our employees were doing, just basically telling those stories. So doing media interviews, lining our executives up for media interviews, writing. We were even doing thought leadership back then, writing op-eds and things like that, opinion articles, so that we were positioning our leadership to be subject matter experts in the industry. So it was a lot of fun, but then there were crisis communications too, that, you had to be involved in. So just say, for instance, if 911 went down, we had to manage that because you didn't want an emergency call to go unanswered and then, maybe something happened seriously to a person that needed help at the time. So it was really just getting out in front, telling our story. I did that with Verizon, like I said, for a large part of my career. I worked with the Maryland Transit Administration in their Office of Communications and Marketing. And while I was there, I was hosting a show. It was called Commuter Connection. So that was a lot of fun. And just talking about different transit projects throughout the region. And I had a team that worked with me. So we had a radio station and we did, jazz music and news, kind of like newscast and things like that. So that was great. And then when I left MTA, I was at Comcast. So I was doing similar work for Comcast that I had been doing for Verizon. And from there, I just decided to take my business full time. And that's Arnette Media Strategies. So I took that full time, launched the business in 2019, but took it full time around 2022.
Okay. No, you know what? When you were talking, whenever somebody talks about stories in 2026, it makes me think about the Scrum Master. Seems like, you guys were doing Scrum before it was Scrum, right? The same concept.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a large part of what I do is like the strategic storytelling, because we all have a story to tell, right? And a lot of times that's the problem. People have good things that they're doing, that they're involved in, but they're not telling their story. And so even from a media perspective, it really is, how do you shape that story so a reporter's audience cares? Because, that'll be, they get pitched with stories all the time. And sometimes you have to really look at how you break through the noise and get that client position. So it's like, how do we shape that story? How do we make it newsworthy and interesting to various audiences?
Which again, that goes now again, talking about the Scrum Master, which you've been doing that. And then you're doing coaching, because that's what coaching is. Yeah. Guiding people to do it, in the best way possible, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And the media coaching is key. And it was key even during COVID, because, like how we're on virtual now, we used to have to remind people of your background, who's in your background, the noise, all kinds of things. Make sure that you're somewhere where you have a good internet connection. But even just outside the coaching, it's like, what are your key messages? A lot of times interviews might be 3 or 4 minutes, and that goes by in a blink of an eye. So it's like, what do you want people to walk away with? Really kind of think about, I guess I look at it like that elevator speech, your pitch, just what are your key messages? And then always, wrap up telling people where they can find you and get more information.
I love that, Lamont. I'm gonna put it over to you, and then I'll come back. I got a few more. I'm excited about this conversation.
So how do you keep up with industry trends and the media landscape changes?
Oh gosh. Well, a lot of it is, reading, staying abreast of the news, what's happening there. A lot of it is relationship building. Like, I'm involved with public relations groups like the Baltimore Public Relations Council. I'm the immediate past president there. So we do and plan events where we get our members to talk about professional development things that are changing, like AI, that's kind of impacting all of our industries. But, it's just like planning things. What's going to benefit us? What's going to help us grow? What help, who can we talk to kind of take us to that next level in our careers? So, organizations like that are very helpful. And then, just really, you really just stand your ear to the ground with with the news and, like I said, industry happenings and things like that, looking at the technology, getting a feel for where reporters are, like some of them have moved off of X, right? They don't do Twitter like they used to. So where can you find them so that you can make sure you're staying connected with them and the kind of stories that they're covering and the kind of, stories that they want to cover, who they might need to talk to. Maybe that's one of your clients that can, fill one of those slots as far as, in being interviewed for a story.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, you mentioned crisis communication, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the components of a crisis communication plan?
Well, first off, what works for me is that you really have to first get all the facts, see what's going on. You can't just jump out there without knowing the full story. So I like to gather the facts, see who's involved, who are my players, who's on the ground, that kind of thing. As the spokesperson, like when I worked for Verizon, do we need to be on the ground? Do we need to be somewhere so that we're face to face and talking with reporters and keeping them abreast of things? It might be, if it's something really serious, it might be where it's not the spokesperson. You might have to roll out your executive to be able to address an issue, to let, the public know that we're on top of it. from the leadership down, we know and we're care and this is what we're doing. And then just being, out up front with how you're addressing the issue.
Awesome.
How are you taking care of it, and that you're on top of it? If it's something where you're going to be working around the clock until it gets fixed, communicating that and letting people know that, we're on top of it, we've got it, and we'll keep you updated. So if there are major outages, for instance, we might just keep coming back with updates. We have so many people back in service now, or this is why it's taking so long, that kind of thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you prepare clients for potential risk?
Oh, gosh. Well, really just understanding their business.
Yeah.
So that's key, because I work with different clients. I really have to take time to understand what it is that they do, the messages that they want to convey, making sure that they're available. So if I need to call you really quickly and say, hey, we need to talk to this reporter now, or they have this time slot, making sure that they're available, or at least someone who would be able to speak on behalf of the company would be available. So just kind of coaching them. A lot of times we do mock interviews. I may prepare questions that they could be asked, and then we'll do mock interviews because you want them to be comfortable with what they're doing. And one thing I try to encourage them is that this is your area of expertise. Yeah. So no one knows it better than you. So just, you've got it. Just talk through it. Make sure, we try to stay away from all the acronyms and things like that. You want to make sure people understand what you're talking about. And they're just really just making sure that they're comfortable. If we're at a TV station, they're doing an interview, I'm there. I meet them there so I can go through it. We may just do a little coaching,
Yeah.
You'll be fine. This will be a conversation, just talk. And always, I kind of say, talk like you're talking to a child. Don't get so high level where people it goes over their head. They're not sure what you're really focused on, like what it's really about. So try to explain things in simple terms, stay away from acronyms. And if it's like a crisis thing, show that you're concerned, that you care. Don't, just talk like you're giving the company line. Really try to be empathetic to what people are going through right now and how you're trying to make it better.
So the one thing I didn't ask you, I'm gonna ask you now, since you went to that school they call HU, what did you major in while there?
Broadcast journalism. And it was funny because I did broadcast journalism. And, they said, oh, if you want to be an anchor, you got to start in these little small markets, right?
Yeah.
I was like, gosh, I don't want to go live, Mississippi, somewhere where my family is not there and things like that. So I was not really willing to pay the dues to do it. So I ended up in public relations, but I was like, you know what? I really like that area. And because of the work, you still do interviews with reporters, so you're still on camera sometimes. And it was just good. I just liked being able to tell, because I'm kind of introverted, I like being behind the camera and being able to help put someone else in front and make sure that they told a good story and, came across really well.
I don't believe you're an introvert.
I like that.
I am.
I do. I believe it.
I am, yeah, it's just, yeah, I would be behind a camera before I'd be in front of it in a heartbeat, but I'm always ready to position others. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pass over to Deneen after you tell me. Were you in school with Kamala?
I came out in 84. I think she came out in, was it 86? So I'm trying to remember when she came out. I graduated from Howard in 84.
Okay.
So I'm trying to remember when she was there. I think if it was only a year or two that we crossed paths.
Yeah, she would have, I think she would have graduated in 86.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Mm-hmm.
She was behind you.
Mm-hmm.
What are you, Deneen?
Okay, so when you're talking about, when you talk about crisis communication, I was thinking, oh, well, you worked at Verizon, right? I can imagine that there were a lot of crises because we just had something, I guess, a couple weeks ago with Verizon where there was like this whole shutdown. I didn't have to deal with that because my phone, I guess my phone's out of Arizona, so we didn't have to deal with it. But the East Coast did. Is that what you're talking about? Things like that? Whenever
it could be things like that. Now, I was on the landline side, so if it was something interrupting, like your cell phone service, that would have been on the mobile side. But yeah, it could have been, just say for instance, when we rolled out files. We had some situations there, until we got everything, because it used to take like a longer process, and, sometimes things would happen. But then it was where, as we started doing more of it, it got better. But I mean, it could have been rolling out a new product. Like I was saying, sometimes it was 911. If there was a storm, service could be down because, power lines were down. Sometimes it delayed us because we had to wait for the power company to do its work first, and then we could come in and do, repair our lines and get people back in service. But it could be a number of things that could go wrong, And I mean, I'm not saying that they did all the time. I thought we did a great job of managing things, but every once in a while. And I think the biggest thing for us that I can recall was really like whenever 911 service would go down, because I mean, our crew, our operations team was top notch. I mean, they would be right on it. And that was important. I mean, even people having their landline service. I mean, it was just that was important. Storms could, affect service, anything. So it was just like they worked around the clock. And so we tried to get those stories out there that we're on it and our guys are committed. I mean, they're going to be out there until the job is done. And it's because that's what they were doing.
Nice. What about, okay, so now you're 20 years later, what are some of the lessons that you learned that you know now that you didn't know back then about media?
About media? Relationships are key. And again, I think it goes back to where I was saying I'm kind of the introvert, like, not thinking about the networking and things like that. That's key. I mean, when you build relationships with people, like I can call people and say, hey, I have this client. Can you get them on the show? And they try to work things out for me. And then the good thing too is that you have to make sure that you're bringing a worthwhile story to them, just not just anything. They're not just going to do it just because you want, they know that when I come with a good client, a good story that we're telling. I'm always reachable at night, on the weekends, whatever it takes. And I think that's one thing that reporters say, like someone will put out a press release, but then when they say, oh, I think we're interested in this story and they call, that sometimes they can't reach the people right away. So I try to make sure that I'm always accessible and that I provide all the assets they need. So if they need photos or video for B-roll, I just try to make sure everything is covered because reporters are busy. So as much as you can do to help them, I think it plays well for you when you want them to, help you with another client as far as giving them news coverage.
Mm-hmm. I saw in your bio that you were a Goldman Sachs honoree. The reason why I wanted to ask about that, because one of the young girls in our community, she recently was an honoree of that, and I was just wondering, what is that about? Like, why? What do you need to do to be able to get that?
Okay, so the program that I was in was Goldman Sachs 1 Million Black Women Black in Business program. Mm-hmm. So I was in cohort 8, yay, and so we graduated from the program, but what that means is like they took us through everything with our business as far as the focus of our business. So, some people, of course, have products, some have services, but looking at what you're offering, who's your ideal client? Sometimes you think, like for me, it was like, everyone needs good PR, right? So I'm like, I can serve everybody. And it was like, it really helps if you niche, and kind of decide, where you can help everyone. You really should have a key focus on who your ideal clients would be, because then you can specialize in that area and just know that, if something comes up, you're the person, just say, for instance, if it was construction, because you're in that industry, the players. If a client who's in that construction industry might consider you because you've been doing it and everything that's involved there. So it was just that, your financials, it's sad to say, like with Black women, we're the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the country, but we're not all good with our finances, and so they walked us through that. And so they partnered with the New York University Stern School of Business. So those were the professors for us. We had a business advisor, we had mentors, we had our growth group, which were our fellow, like small groups of business women, and that we would work together. But I thought it was an ideal program. Their commitment is 1 million Black women. So I think at the end of my cohort, I think we were, oh gosh, I forgot the number. I think we were in the 300s. So they still have a little ways to go. But, definitely, if you know any Black woman who is running a business and, not like, they don't want you to have like a lot of employees. I think you have to be a small, like a boutique type business. That's a good program. They do have 10,000 small business. I think those are larger business women with employees, but yeah, they're great programs to be a part of. You do walk away feeling like you've learned a whole lot and made a lot of connections.
Do you feel like did you do this program before you started your own in 2019, or what did you do it after?
After. I did it last year. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So
I just graduated. I'm in cohort 8 and they're now with cohort 9.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
So how long was the program?
It was about 3 months.
Oh, okay.
I think we did September through December.
Did you, were you in like New York, or where were you when you were doing it? Were you doing it online? How does that work?
Yeah, the orientation and the graduation were in New York. Actually, our orientation was in Jersey City, but which is right across the water. But all the sessions in between were virtual, and so you have to commit. You have to be present. And they ask you that right up front. This is going to be your commitment of time. It might be 12 hours a week. Are you prepared to do that? And so everyone was on board because I think you just knew it was just going to help your business and put us in the right track.
The person that I was thinking about, I'm thinking she might have been in the same time that you were in, simply because she just finished as well. And you said they're on 9 now, so she was on the one before 9.
Oh, okay. She could have been in the same group. We had a large group, but yeah, because I think there were 304 of us.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah, she was something like that in our group, because they had been doing, I think, 150, and then our group was larger.
Yeah, I think she's a young girl, and I think the name of her company is Hattie B. something in work in progress, something like that. She does like a youth camp, is what young girls improvement camp, something like that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, there was there's such a variety of businesses, it was just really impressive. It was impressive to be with women who were so phenomenal and just doing some wonderful, in some cases, creative things. It was great.
Do they, because I would think that if you go to this program, I would think that this program, the people that go to this program would be more successful than people who don't. Is that, can I
I feel that, yes, because you really do walk away with great information, great connections. And then you have to keep in mind that they try to build us they built us as a community, so that we can work with each other, collaborate, see how and so that's all part of it. And then they keep us connected. We have Black in Business Connect, which is a way that they keep us connected now that we are completed the program, that we still stay in touch.
Oh, I like that. I love that. And I also like
it's wonderful.
What you were talking about on how they get you thinking about things that you don't normally think about. Because a lot of people go into business, they know their business, but they don't know business. So if you're an artist, you know art, but you don't know the business. And so they get you on track and get you thinking about all the operational things that keep you in business, right?
Exactly. And the thing is, especially when you first start your business, you're in the business, right? You're working. And so, sometimes you get that question, are you running a business or are you just working the business? So it's teaching you how you need to grow so that you can bring people on, so that while they're working and you're managing things, you can work on the business development, certain operations in the business, things like that to keep the business moving forward.
Yeah, billing, like billing.
Yes.
Trying to get your money that you're owed, right?
Definitely. And keeping those clients coming in and keeping them happy. Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, Armand, I've taken up enough time for now. I do still have a couple more questions that I want to ask, but I'm going to give him a chance.
Okay, go easy on me, Armand.
He might take my question.
It's possible. It's possible. Paula, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, Paula. Now, what made your media company an award-winning company, and what gave you the motivation to begin it, to start it?
Well, it's interesting. I think starting the company, to be honest, I was tired of bumping my head on that glass ceiling and waiting for someone else to validate me. That's one thing I would tell any person wanting to start business. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe what you bring to the table. Don't wait for others to tell you what your path will be. And so that was the thing for me. It was just like, I just got tired. And I said, you know what? I've been doing this work for people for free. If someone needed something, I would just do it. And someone said to me one day, this can be a business for you. And I was like, you know what? That's true. So I got it all set up. And like I said, I was doing it part-time because I was still working full-time. So I would get up like early in the mornings on my lunch breaks. And then at night, I would be working, but I would only take like a couple of clients. I only could take what I could manage and make sure that I did it well. But, deciding to just take it full-time, I have to tell you, it was a little scary because it was like, oh, is this, can I do this? Can I do this? And it was crazy too, because I was actually going through a divorce at the time. So I'm like, is this the right time to do this? But, I pray on things. And, I do believe that if God brings you to it, he'll bring you through it. And it was just, it's the best decision I made, because it really does. It makes you believe in yourself. Yeah. And that's not saying you won't be afraid, but sometimes you got to put that fear aside and just say,
go for it.
What if? Go for it. Exactly. Because how do you know that you're going to be successful, or if you'll fail, if you never try, right?
Right.
So you have to, and that was just my thing. Like, what do I have to lose? If it doesn't work, heck, I'll go back and get another 9 to 5. But how do I know that it won't be a success unless I just do it? And, doing PR, media relations, it's my passion. When I can work with someone and really just help them, again, develop their story, be able to talk about the great work that they're doing, especially like a lot of the nonprofits, they're just doing some really impactful things. And then when you get those nice media hits and you see your client just kind of light up, like now their voice has been heard, they're being celebrated because they really are doing some great things. That's payback for me. I mean, I just love that. And it just, every day is different. It's, it's just never the same. It keeps you on top of your toes. You have to be strategic. You're trying to problem solve. You're being creative because you're trying to see how you can do that strategic storytelling. So I love it. I really do. And I love working with people, and I love building the relationships. And like I said, growing in my personal life and my career, I do see the value of networking and building those relationships. It just, before I just didn't, and I would try to avoid it. but I really see the value of it, and it really does help. It really does help. I thank God every day for the people he puts in my life, because I'm always looking at how there's always someone there to support me. Sometimes when I'm sitting there like, ooh, which way do I turn? What do I do? And honestly, it's just like someone just comes out and it's just like, that's my answer. You know, this person is right there and can help. So, you know, it's just a blessing. So I'm grateful. I really am grateful for all of it.
So, Sandy, speaking of relationships,
Mm-hmm.
you build and maintain your relationships with the journalists.
Well, I'll be honest. Sometimes I, may just call and I just say, hey, just wanted to see how your day's going or whatever. Mm-hmm. When they cover stories, I thank them. I don't want it to be that every time I reach out, I'm always asking for something. But I think you start to develop those relationships. Some of the groups I've been in, I remember when I joined, it was the Association of Black Media Workers. And now it's Baltimore Association of Black Journalists. They are part of NABJ. But going to those meetings and spending time with folks, we used to do events and things, that's how we kind of became friends. And some of the reporters there now, I've worked with them well over a decade. It's been just building those relationships, but just sometimes just being friends and just checking in and, I have this, could this be a story that you're interested in? Or I saw that you've been covering this. I have a subject matter expert. If you do a follow-up, give me a call. Just that kind of thing. And I think if they know that you're there, you're thorough, you come up with good stuff, that helps them. Like I said, they're really busy too. And so if they know that they can get some, someone who's working and providing what they need and helping do with some of that legwork, lining up the client, making sure that they're prepared and, whatever it is, that helps a lot. I think it goes a long way.
So, being a female, Black female, male-dominated society, even in your business that you are in, how did you had to go through a plan phase on how you could overcome your obstacles, right? Mm-hmm. So at any time, did you feel like pulling back?
There were times, I think sometimes, or maybe you have maybe I should call it like, it's almost like an imposter syndrome, right? Sometimes you're feeling like, do I belong here? Do I belong in the room? Should I be doing this? And for me, it's almost like I step outside myself because I'm like, girl, snap out of it. Yes, you belong here. You work hard, you've done this, you've earned this, why not? Why not you? Why does it have to be someone else? So for me, I'll give you an example. Like sometimes, you go into situations and I remember going somewhere and it seemed like it was like an old boys club or something. And it was just like, okay. And I don't know, it's almost like I step outside myself, like you create this avatar, I guess, of who your personality is going to be. And you just go in there and you just do it. You just do the thing. As I say, you work the room. Again, being, a person who could easily stay in the background. When I'm in events, it's like, work that room. You need to start talking to people, building those relationships, soliciting clients, doing what it takes. And so, so that's, it really has me stepping outside my comfort zone. I'm a strong believer that, if you're too comfortable, you're not growing. And sometimes we have to step outside of our comfort zone so that we can grow.
Nice.
It may not always be easy, but it pays off in the end.
Yes. So Bernadette, welcome to the show. Diane, welcome to the show. And if you're out there viewing us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and subscribe to the show. All right? It's not hard to do. Just touch it. All you need to mean.
It's easy.
That's Sandy. No growth comes in the comfort zone. So we got to get out there. That's where you get all your growth. What I
Yes.
wanted to, okay, so it's Arnette Media Strategies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I wanted to, the question I have for you, I have actually a couple, but one in particular was what's the difference between media and marketing? And why did you select media as opposed to marketing?
Okay, well, I do media, public relations. Marketing is definitely separate. I guess the best way to explain it, marketing is more like your advertising, your sales. Um, so if someone wanted to buy an ad, they can get that ad placed where they want, when they want, how they want it to look, right? With PR, with media relations, it's more earned media. So you don't pay for that. You're getting the coverage because of the relationships that you build. So it's, to me, it's based a little bit more on your credibility. And I think that goes a long way because, again, reporters have so many things that they can cover. If they feel that they can allot airtime to you, for instance, or, space on the page, if it's a print publication, that just shows that that what you do is valid. It's credible. You're not just paying it and they run it. They're running it because they see value in what you do.
Right, as opposed to marketing is kind of more selling, right?
Right, exactly.
So I understand that. Where do you think that AI fits in with media?
Well, AI, I know people have different opinions about it. I like AI. Sometimes, like, if you have a writer's block or you just need that catchy headline, it helps. Like, you can put something in and it helps get it started. But what I find is that I can never and don't ever rely solely. So, like, I don't have it write something and I just submit it.
Right.
I always find that it helps give me that little boost when I have that block. And then once I get that, I'm gone with it, because, you have to sometimes check it, make sure things are still accurate. But you just want things written where it sounds like you. And, it's really, AI is great, but my hands are still on it. You know what I mean? It's just like, I just can't
I agree.
Go with it.
Well, junk in, junk out, right? That's how it is. I feel like it's a good brainstorming tool, right?
Mm-hmm. It is
by yourself, as
it
opposed
is.
to having a brainstorming session. So I do feel like that. But I guess the other question that I had, I'm gonna, because Armand, you probably gonna say this, but I'm gonna this is my question. It's about you being a co-author.
Yes. I was invited to. Yes, the Business Playbook from Start to Scale. So, a group of really great women. We got together. Someone that I had worked with in one of the women's business groups decided, she started getting women together to do this Business Playbook and invited me to be an author, to have a chapter in the book. So, I was honored. I'd never thought about writing a book, but it was great because it really made you slow down and kind of really reflect on your journey, on my journey, how I kind of, what got me to where I am right now, and, the things that I encountered, and, just the whole, why I do what I do and how I feel now. I feel like I'm bolder because, again, what do you have to lose? Sometimes you have to step out there on faith. And, even with my business, that's exactly what I did. But it was fun. It was just, sitting down. And then what we would do was, once we had our chapters, we would each read, so that we could get feedback from our other authors in the book. And and so it was just great. I thought it was a really, really good experience. I could see myself possibly doing it again, but it really gave you time to reflect.
That was my next question was, what's the next publication for you? And what's next for you? What do you want in the next year or the next, let's say, next 3 to 5 years? What do you want to do? Is there anything that you can think of and say, man, I really would love to do that?
Oh gosh. I really love giving back. I really would like to get my business to a point where I would love to have some young people like out of college, out of grad school, who are looking for jobs, but who are sharp, good ideas, to be able to like ease into the business and start just kind of doing their thing with it. And then I can like kind of ease myself out of it and just watch them work. Because again, I remember when I came out of school, it was just like getting hired, right? You felt like you had good stuff you could bring to the table, but you were still young and you needed that experience. So just helping to groom people, kind of that succession planning, I guess, like, grooming the next generation to kind of come in and step in and take over, I think would be wonderful. So I would just really like to see the business move in that direction, and where I can just kind of start easing myself out of it and just, kind of overseeing things from afar.
Well, so, I think you got some time before you're going to see yourself out of it. But immediately, you can certainly, they're always looking for internships. So, I mean, you can go back to HU and you can tell them, hey, this, you can go back to the journalism department and tell them that, you'd love to have an intern. And that wouldn't cost you anything. And that would be that'd be a start to help the next generation. So. And I have actually started doing that. So yes, and working with freelancers too.
Nice. Who have been helpful. And again, by them doing part of the business, that gives me time to focus on other things. But yeah, that's what I would like to see done. And I don't know. Sometimes I've thought about maybe starting some sort of nonprofit. I love helping people. I love animals. I don't know. Sometimes I'm just not sure what I want to do next, but I do like to travel. So I don't know. I'm figuring it out. Still figuring it out.
Well, for starters, after talking to you tonight, what I realized is that we certainly could use some help. So when you're talking about the stories and you're talking about, having your focus and things like that, those are some of the things that we talk about with the show. We want to make sure that, we're telling the story that we want to tell in what we're presenting to, to our locals and everything. So it's really been good for me just to kind of remind us that we need to make sure that, we're presenting, the vision that the CEO has, the founder and the president has, and we need to make sure that we stay focused on that. So there you go, Vaughn.
I think
it's homework.
I think Deneen has just prophesied. She just prophesied. So, you know where your next move is going to be at, right? Welcome to the show.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
What's going to happen next? We're going to give you a chance to close us out. But before you do so, I'm going to give Deneen a chance to talk about what's coming up. I think she can really present this well. There it is.
There it is.
Save the date. No, don't save the date. Go on to Eventbrite and buy your tickets for March 21st. The Legends from the Past. Honorees. So we have some young people. I think it's young people. We have about 4 honorees for Legends Awards. So it's March 21st, 6 through 10 at the Mount Olive Life Center. And we need you guys to go out and get those tickets. There's scholarships where the tickets are going to contribute to the scholarships for the next honorees, which will be given out in the springtime, late spring. So get on there. Buy your tickets.
Awesome. Way to go, Deneen. Yeah.
He cut me off.
Great job.
I'll be ready next time. He cut me off, but that's okay. Go out and get your tickets, guys. It's going to be a great show. It's going to be a great event. I mean, seriously though, we're trying to raise money for scholarships. Just like you were talking about, we're trying to do. We did an internship this year. We're trying to make sure that the next generation is going to be even stronger than the last. So there you got the QR code on the screen. We're expecting a good number of people to come out and support this event. So
yes,
there you go.
Yes, we are. We had a great turnout last year. That was last year. This year, we're looking to exceed. We're going to have a catered food. We're going to have a DJ. We'll have a keynote speaker, and the legend from the past and future team will be there. What more could you ask for? And we may have some dignitaries in the area giving out proclamations. Okay. So, Miss Arnette.
Yes, sir.
What encouraging nugget would you want to leave for the viewers out there aspiring to do what you've done, with the exception of going to Howard University?
He's still going there, Janine. He's still going there.
Such a hater.
Close us out, Sandy.
Okay. Well, I think I just have to say, you know what? Believe in yourself. That's just my message. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let someone else control your destiny. And just believe that you can. And you will.
I love that. Sandy. I will echo that and say, trust yourself.
Yes.
Nobody knows you better than you. Trust yourself.
That's right. That's right.
And there you have it. Thank you for joining the show tonight. Subscribe to the show. And also, if you like the show, donate. Help keep us going. It doesn't take much. Help us out. Come to the event, support the event, and come back next week to another exciting show of Legend from the Past and Future show, and the Corner Truth on Monday. Also, Health and Fitness with Melissa Natapara on Tuesdays. See, you got something, Denise?
I have one more thing I wanted to say, and if you know anyone who you believe is a legend from the community and the local areas, let us know, and we would love to have them on the show.
Awesome. Yes, I concur. Until then, hey.